A right isosceles triangle of side D has small spheres with charges of plus q, plus 2q, and minus 3q, where q is larger than 0, arranged on its corners, and consider the coordinate system that's indicated in a figure. And in part A, we'll sketch the electric field lines for this charge distribution. So along this vertical line, the positive charge has an electric field pointing away from it, and a negative charge has an electric field pointing towards it. So at every point along this line, the electric field points from the positive to the negative charge. So the electric field line looks something like this. So note that you'll get a slight deflection due to this positive charge. So the electric field line will be slightly bent, but this is a decent approximation for the sketch of the electric field line. And similarly on this horizontal line, the electric field line is connected and goes from a positive charge to the negative charge. And at this point, we have an electric field due to the plus 2q charge and a plus q charge pointing in opposite directions. And due to the minus 3q charge, it points like this. So these charges are at the same distance from point P. So the net electric field will point down and to the left. So we can draw an electric field line that's tangent to this vector. So it might look something like this, from the positive to the negative charge. And we can do the same from this charge to the negative charge. So that looks something like this. So the electric field lines are more dense around the larger charge. So we may have something like this to the negative charge. So we draw the lines more dense. And from the positive charge, we'd have something like this. So we connect a few of these lines as follows. So another line that goes something like this and ends up on a negative charge, and so on. So in this region over here, the electric field lines would look more dense. So they look something like this. So note that they don't intersect and go from the positive to the negative charge. And then at this point, you'd have less influence of the electric field from the negative charge and more influence from the positive charges due to the inverse square law, being Coulomb's law. So from this positive charge, the electric field points radially outwards. So here you'll have the net electric field pointing in the opposite direction. So something like this. So the electric field line from this charge would be something like this. And from this charge, it'll be something like this. So the electric field lines point away from the positive charge. And that continues as follows. So you essentially have something like this. And so on. So you'll have the field being less dense in this region than compared to here around the charge with the larger magnitude. And now we'll go to part B. So let's get rid of this, where we're asked to calculate the components of the electric field at point P, being the midpoint between the positive charges, and express the answer in terms of the Coulomb constant, the length of the side of the isosceles triangle, and Q. So this point is equidistant from the three charges. So we draw a radial vector from charge 1. So this is the vector from charge 1 to P. And the electric field due to charge 1 is Coulomb's constant by the charge on the squared distance from this charge to the point. So we see the radial vector has an x component of d on 2 and a y component of d on 2. So the squared magnitude is d squared on 4 plus d squared on 4, or d squared on 2. So we have d squared in the denominator on 2, which goes in a numerator. And we see this vector has the same components. So this angle is 45 degrees. So we have cosine 45 degrees being the x component of the unit radial vector. And sine 45 degrees is the other component of that vector. So as we can see, the electric field points towards the negative charge, given this negative sign. And now we draw a radial vector from the second charge to point P. So this is R2P. So we have the electric field due to charge 2 is Coulomb's constant by the charge on the squared distance between a charge and a point. So in this case, R2P is going to be minus d on 2 in the x direction and plus d on 2 in the y direction. So this radial vector has the same squared magnitude. So we have d squared on 2 in the denominator and the 2 goes in the numerator. And we have a minus x component and a positive y component. So noting this angle is also 45 degrees. So we see the electric field due to this charge point in this direction. And then we have another radial vector from our third charge to point P. So the electric field is Coulomb's constant by the charge, and this radial vector has the same magnitude as the other two. So the squared magnitude is d squared on 2, and it has a positive x component and a negative y component. So the electric field due to this charge points in this direction and has a smaller magnitude than the electric field due to the larger charge. So the net electric field at point P is the sum of these electric fields. So what we have is minus 3 by 2 on root 2, which is root 2, by kq on d squared. So we factored out 1 on root 2 by I plus j. And then we have 2 multiplied by 2 on root 2 by kq on d squared minus I plus j. And then plus 2 on root 2 by kq on d squared by I minus j. So therefore the x component of the net electric field is minus 3 minus 2, which is minus 5, plus 1, or minus 4, by root 2 kq on d squared, and the y component is minus 3 plus 2, which is minus 1. Minus 1 gives minus 2. So that'll be minus 2 by root 2 kq on d squared. So when we superimpose these electric fields, we'll have the electric field due to this charge being stronger than that of this charge. So between those two charges, the electric field points this way, and then superimposing this with the electric field due to this charge, we have the net electric field pointing as follows. So more towards the negative x direction and less towards the negative y direction. So our answer looks about right.